Welcome back here. Today we will dive into one of the grittiest, grimiest, darkest, and most controversial parts of NFL players. We will talk about some of the most notorious gridiron warriors to ever grace the field. Players who skirted the rules, made officials reach for their flags, and terrorized opponents. From bone-crushing hits to controversial statements, let's explore some of the dark sides of the NFL. Anyone would think dirty players will only aim for their opponents, but that is entirely wrong. Oftentimes, these dirty players push beyond boundaries. Starting our list is a future Hall of Famer, Steve Smith, who went on and over with his teammate. In 2002, Smith Steve got into a dirty fight with his teammate, Anthony Bright, during a training camp and had to be separated by the entire team, but not before he dealt a fatal blow. Both receivers went from heated word exchange to brutal physical exchange. The fight got so intense that Smith ended up breaking the bony cup around Anthony's eyes. Ouch! What sort of face punch could have broken a teammate's face? It must have been some rage from Steve Bright. If you think Steve Bright is overboard, wait till you hear this next one. Let's talk about a man who always plays like he had chips on his shoulder and accumulated over $200,000 in fines during his playing career. Harrison is one of the NFL players who proved their dirtiness time and time again. Most notably, in 2002, Harrison had a brutal head-to-head hit with Jerry Rice, which got him suspended in his last season with the Chargers before retiring 6 years later, but not before leaving his mark as one of the dirtiest players in NFL history. Harrison is so bad that he was voted the league's dirtiest player in 2004 and 2006. Well, Harrison is not the only player who got dirty with helmet-to-helmet hits, and maybe this next one will be even worse. Jack Tatum, a former Raiders safety, was involved in one of the most horrific head-to-head hits that left his victim paralyzed from the neck down. Jack, who was about 200 pounds, had always taken advantage of the NFL rule about head-to-head contact to make tackles, but it went completely out of hand during a preseason game against the Patriots in 1978. Jack went about his business as usual and made one of the most brutal hits in NFL history against an opposing receiver, Darryl Stingley. Stingley was running a crossing pattern, and the force of the hit fractured 2 vertebrae in Stingley's neck and severely damaged his spinal cord, leaving him a quadriplegic. No penalty flags were thrown, and Tatum was not disciplined, but Stingley and Tatum never reconciled. Tatum did not apologize for the hit, earning him considerable national scorn and his iconic nickname, the Assassin. The hit was so bad that it left Darryl paralyzed from the chest down. The NFL was forced to review the helmet-to-helmet rule after this incident to protect players from guys like Jack. Still talking about dirty players known for notorious tackles, next on our list is Roy Williams, a player who took the horse collar tackles personally in the early 2010s because this tackle was legal at that time. However, Williams explored this tackle to become one of the dirtiest players in NFL history. In one of the most significant events, Williams broke Terrell Owens' leg with this tackle and immediately became a talking point among players and other NFL stakeholders. But Owen was not the only casualty in Williams' notorious tackles. Owen ended up injuring not 1, but 3 players with this tackle during the 2014 NFL season, and uncoincidentally, that was the last season the horse collar tackle was legal in the NFL. Do you think more tackles like this should be scrutinized to prevent dirty players from injuring others? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section as we move to other dirty players with different strategies. Next on our list, we have a player who took being dirty beyond the NFL playing field to other spaces, including using toxic and dirty words in interviews. Richard Sherman, who played for the Seahawks, earned a spot on our list of dirtiest players in NFL history for his naughty attitude on the field and toxic language that made even reporters scared of talking to him. During an NFC game in 2019, Richard Sherman said many things to 49ers receiver Michael Crabtree during the heated game and ended up shutting him off for most of the game. As if that is not enough, Sherman continued it further to the post-game interview and won't even let Crabtree handle the playoff loss peacefully. Nobody was sure of Sherman's exact word to the 49ers receiver, but whatever he said clearly woke the beast in Crabtree. Now, we will talk about a player who wants to win at all costs and doesn't mind getting dirty to achieve this. It is normal to be desperate for a win over your league rivals, but Terrell Suggs took the desire to win to a whole new level, which is not so pleasant. Suggs knew the best way to defeat their bitter division rivals, the Steelers, as if they were without their star quarterback, Roethlisberger. Suggs made his strategy for winning about breaking Roethlisberger's knees, earning him a bad reputation for being one of the dirtiest players we've ever seen. Just chill, man. We love players with a burning desire to win, but definitely not players who get so dirty to win. Yucks. But you might not be able to argue that Suggs gets dirtier for a win than this next player, who is known for cheap shots and several on-field fights with Ndamukong Suh. Suh earned himself the bad boy reputation by getting into many ridiculous on-the-field fights and taking several chap shots, doing everything to win a game, including making several attempts to injure his opponents. One of his most memorable incidences, but one his opponents would not like to remember, is during the playoff game in 2014 against the Packers when Suh plays for the Lions. He decided to take the desperation for winning to another level by stepping on Rodgers' legs. Imagine a 303-pound man standing on another man's legs. But that is not the only time Suh has been caught trying to intentionally injure other players or get into fights in a bid to win games. And one of the craziest of all was in 2012 when Sioux Texan quarterback Matt Schaub's crotch. Someone has to tell this man he is about to wipe out an entire generation with a single swing of his huge leg. If you think no man can be dirtier than Suh, you might think you are right until you meet Raiders linebacker Vontaze Burfict, a man who has been fined a whopping $4.2 million in his career. How is that even possible? A whopping $4.2 million is about the paycheck of another player just for being an absolute jark on the field. Imagine earning a reputation for being the dirtiest jark in NFL history. It looks pretty unbelievable until you watch him on the field yourself. Year after year, Burfict keeps making headlines for some of the most ridiculous reasons, paying fine after fine. He has made headlines for all the wrong reasons you can think about, from illegal hits to violent conduct and many more. Someone should just tell this man to chill out, but maybe it's already too late. What do you expect from a man that has paid millions of dollars in fines for being an absolute jerk? Maybe paying fines is not enough punishment. Do you think the NFL should employ stiffer punishments than just fines for players like Burfict, who don't mind paying a fortune and being dirty? Let us know in the comments section. Moving on, we have a player who earned himself the title of being the dirtiest defensive lineman of all time, Richie Incognito. If you are wondering if he deserves the title, wait till you find out what he did during his playing days in the NFL. In the 2008 season, Incognito established his bad boy reputation in the game against Redskins, where he committed 3 infractions in a single game. Come on, man. I can count on the fingers of one hand the number of players that can boast of such dirty numbers. His first infraction in the game was a personal foul after getting into a physical altercation with an official. The second infraction came from his chop block on an opponent's mask, and he got a penalty for the third. 3 infractions without checking his nerves is absolutely something else. But what Incognito did on the field isn't as dirty as what he got into with his teammate Jonathan Martin off the field. Incognito continuously harassed his teammate between 2012 and 2013. According to Martin, Incognito continuously harassed him by sending him several disturbing texts and some cyberbullying to the point Martin claimed to have anxiety and almost got depressed before leaving the team. It turns out Incognito was a dirty player on and off the field, but maybe not as dirty as this next one. What can get dirtier than a man who got his mugshot taken for a murder case? Man, that's way too much, unlike most other players on our list. Lewis was involved in a murder case back in 2001, which automatically earned him a spot on our list of the dirtiest players in NFL history. Lewis, who was a standout player for the Baltimore Ravens, didn't play in that game on January 30th, 2000. Instead, he headed for Atlanta to party, dressed for the nightlife afterward in a cream-colored suit with a mock neck sweater and Stetson hat. Sadly, the murder of two fatally stabbed men outside of the nightclub in the city's Buckhead district remains an unsolved case. Nobody was convicted for or confessed to the fatal stabbings of the two men. But that's not all about Lewis's dirty reputation. Lewis is also known for his reckless hits, particularly in the 2010 season when he had to be fined $25,000 on 2 different occasions for his dirty hits. The craziest thing is that Lewis was 35 years old at that time, and one would only wonder why he had to make such hits. Finally, we've come to the end of our list of the dirtiest players in NFL history. But do you know what is dirtier? Not clicking the like and share button on this video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and stay connected for more interesting NFL updates and stories. See you in the next video.